time for a new book haul. Hey, my name is Marley. Welcome to my booktube channel, and today I'm going to be doing my biannual book haul where I haul all the books that I got in fall and winter. I believe we have 24 books here. A lot of them, or at least a few of them, I have read already, because if you saw any videos last year where I talked about like my stats, I was actually reading a lot of the books I was buying, and I've been keeping track of the order of these books, so going to talk about them in the order that I received them. All right, starting out, we have If We Were Liars by M.L. Rio. I think I hauled this, yeah, definitely in the fall, obviously, because I was doing this Dark Academia reading vlog. I just had a really good feeling about this book, so that's why I purchased it instead of just getting it from the library, because I really thought I was gonna love it. And spoiler alert, I did. I think I give it 4 stars, but you can go watch that video if you haven't already. This is basically about this guy who we know is in jail for some sort of crime, and he's looking back at his life, and we're figuring out what led him to this. He's actually getting out of jail, sorry, for this crime. And basically back when he was in university, he had this big group of friends. They were all pursuing drama degrees. There were all, you know, these different kind of dynamics between the friend group, but one of the friends did end up dead. So we're figuring out why and how this happened. We know that it wasn't really this guy that did it. It was one of the other people. So it's a bit of a, you know, murder mystery, which I love. And this one was also pretty emotional as well. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, that's the first one. And then I hauled the second and third book in this series. The Ace of Shades series, or the Shadow Game series, is the name of the trilogy. The first book was Ace of Shades. So I decided to buy the second and third one. I gave the first book 4 stars, so pretty enjoyable. Unfortunately, I have read this second one now, and it was one of my worst books of the year. Unfortunately, it was a disappointment. Also, unfortunately, I own the third one now too, which is also pretty thick, that I'll probably get to eventually. Just kind of sucks. I did invest money in buying this series that I've kind of been disappointed in. But it is a YA fantasy series about this girl who goes to the city of sin, or the city's called, I always forget the name of the city. But like, she gets wrapped up in these gangs and gambling, and there's also magic. Like, everyone has magical powers. I don't really feel like talking about it too much more, but unfortunately I did haul these. Alright, then I also bought Percy Jackson and the Olympians' newest release, The Chalice of the Gods, of course by Rick Riordan. This came out in the fall as well, a little bit before the TV show came out. And I was excited about it because I love Percy Jackson, I love Rick Riordan's books. But unfortunately, I was disappointed with this book. It's just so short, and the story of this book is basically kind of like a flashback. And Percy, Annabeth, and Grover, like the original trio, are doing this quest, and basically, I can't remember the details of the quest at this point, or I don't want to think too hard about it, but like, the quest is gonna get dragged out for like 2 more books, and I just didn't feel like it was necessary. And it just did feel like a cash grab. Like, he only really put this out to go along with promoting the show. Which, talking about the show, I don't know if I want to talk about my opinions on that because they're not good. But anyways, I did do a whole reading vlog for this actually, which you can check that out. Then we have The Brothers Hawthorne by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. There's nothing more Hawthorne than winning. And this is the Indigo exclusive edition. That's why it's purple, not black. So this is, I don't even know the full details on this. Basically, it's like a follow-up series to the Inheritance Games trilogy by the same author. I loved that series. It was like a YA mystery series about this girl who ends up inheriting all this money from a millionaire, and she doesn't know why, or billionaire, sorry. And she doesn't know why because she never even knew him. It's a mystery that she takes on, trying to figure out like what her connection is with this man, along with his grandson, who obviously are invested as well because they're kind of like losing out on money by like her inheriting it. And there's a love triangle, which was very fun. And I think overall that series was like a 5-star series for me. Wasn't really needing any more books, but of course Jennifer had to cash in on the popularity of this series, so she is continuing it, and I think it's following only the grandsons. But I'm a little bit confused because I'm like, what about our girl, like Avery, who was the girl in the love triangle? Like, is she still in this? I'm not I'm not sure how it's gonna go, but it is on my TBR for this month. So you will see a review of this in my wrap up at the end of February. So I would say I'm mostly excited because I did love the other books in the series, but I'm a little bit confused of like where this book is gonna go. Then we have a thriller, or a mystery more so, that I got for my birthday from my friend Allie. So thank you to her. I actually did read this already, and this is a great read. Really wish more people were talking about this because I think it was really enjoyable. It's basically about a true crime show. The director of the show is basing it on a real crime that happened to him when he was young, where his stepdad was killed or something like that. Someone in his family was killed and it was never solved. So now that he's like a grown man, he's putting together this true crime show. He's getting detectives on board and different people as this kind of jury to figure out what happened all those years ago. It takes you on so many different pathways that you can really theorize a lot with this. It gets kind of ridiculous, but I just had such a good time with it. And there's a lot of multimedia stuff where we're seeing like scripts for the show, we're seeing news articles, emails and texts and all that kind of stuff if you like that. So I would recommend this one. Then we have Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. This was one of my favorite books I read last year, and again I do have a whole reading blog for it if you want to watch that. But this was Cassandra Clare's adult debut. She of course is one of my favorite authors, and obviously it did not disappoint. It's a fantasy following this world where magic has been outlawed, but one of our main characters is a part of a community that like still has magic. So they are very much like kind of oppressed. There's a lot of rules around what they're allowed to do, but they can still practice a little bit of magic. So that's our one main character. And then we have another main character who is the sword catcher. Basically means he is in charge of like guarding the prince and taking any swords or any like damage that is meant for the prince by like impersonating him. And then we kind of see how their journeys kind of meet. They end up finding out a lot of like secrets about this world, about this kingdom. It's giving like medieval, a lot of like political drama going on, which is not necessarily always my thing, and it was a little bit info dumpy at times, but overall I did really enjoy it and I enjoyed the characters. It was a lot of setup for the world, but I'm excited to continue the series and see like where all this setup ends up going. Then we have the ever popular Fourth Wing. I had to jump on this train and read Fourth Wing, and I decided to actually get the physical copy. I asked for it for Christmas from a friend and she did give it to me. Kind of have regrets about that, just with kind of the negativity that followed Iron Wing. I don't know if I am going to love that I actually like purchased these books, but anyways, I did overall enjoy Fourth Wing. I gave it 4 stars, so I was kind of like middle of the road. Like I'm not obsessed, but I also don't hate it or anything. It is like a fantasy about this girl who is forced to like train to be a dragon rider, even though she doesn't want to do it, but she ends up falling in love and having this hate to love romance with a fellow dragon rider. And it's about like her journey going through this training, bonding with her dragon, and there's this war going on in the world as well. I definitely understand the criticisms that people have. I definitely have criticisms myself, but overall I found it was a fun time. It definitely reminded me of a lot of other books I've read, such as Divergent, such as ACOTAR. So it just kind of has all those tropes that you've seen before. So I think if you go in knowing that, you can have a good time with it. But yeah, I'm worried about the rest of the series. Now, this is actually a current read of mine. We have all of Our Demise by the author duo Amanda Foody and C.L. Herman. So this is the second book in a duology. The first one was All of Us Villains, which I read pretty much a year ago, and I liked that book. I gave it 4 stars. As I said, I'm currently reading this one and I'm liking it. I'm feeling kind of the same way. It is a YA fantasy competition book, a competition to the death. There's this curse on these 7 families and they all have to participate in this competition to the death to win the high magic for the next 20 years until the next competition. So we're following a few of the people, a few of the teenagers who have to go into this deadly competition. The magic is interesting, where like there's regular magic and then there's high magic, and they put them into like gemstones, and so they'll wear like these rings with the different curses or with the different spells, and then you know they can perform the different spells based on which like gemstones they have. Anyways, it's kind of a cool, unique magic system, but I definitely don't think it's like a perfect book. It's not my favorite. I feel like the characters are like a little bit lacking. There's definitely just something a little bit lacking about the series, but overall I am enjoying it. And of course at the end of the month I can say my full review of the series and of this last book. But yeah, because I had the first book, I of course wanted to buy the second one when I saw it came out in paperback, because I had the first one in paperback. All right, on to my next stack on this side. I decided to buy Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This was a very, very popular book last year, almost like Fourth Wing, like just one of those books I just kept seeing constantly. I got, for some reason, pushed over the edge to purchase it. I just felt like I was gonna like it. I mean, it's literally about like a rivals to lovers situation, which is something I really, really like. And I think it's YA fantasy, which I also tend to like, probably more than adult fantasy. But from what I've heard of people talking about it, it is about these two people who are like journalists in this war. And so they're both like covering the war, and it's something with like gods. Like the gods are fighting. And then I think they begin communicating through letters, and that's how they start like bonding. And I think that's all I really know about it. Other than that, people absolutely love it, and it keeps being on people's best books of the year videos for 2023. I'm a little bit worried because I don't actually love the pen pal trope. So why did I decide to buy this? I don't know. I still have hope for this, and it's only a duology, so just one more book, which is already out, so I'll most likely be hauling that soon. Yeah, hopefully I can read this soon because it sounds very good. The cover is very beautiful. Then I got, of course, Iron Flame, which, as I said, a little bit apprehensive about this. I don't know when I'm gonna get it. I'll probably just see when it pops up in like my TBR games that I do. I'm not necessarily rushing to it. And as I said, I'm just kind of nervous to get to it because I've heard so many people DNFing it, so many people hating it, even people who loved Fourth Wing. That being said, I have still seen some people like it that I personally know and have talked to. So I don't know how it's gonna go. I think people's main criticism is that it repeats a lot of the stuff from the same book. So maybe if I'm like aware of that, I'll be okay with it, but that does sound annoying. That does sound annoying for it to be like repetitive of the first book. So anyways, I'll get to this at some point, but yeah, I bought that. Another book I'm currently reading actually is 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson. This is the 5th book in the Truly Devious series, which is another YA murder mystery series that I really, really love. I've given, I think, almost all the books in that series 5 stars. I bought this one as soon as it came out in paperback because that's how I've been purchasing the books. I didn't plan on reading it right away, but then I had a friend on Bookstagram, Brandon, asked me to buddy read, so I am currently reading it. I've only read the first 50 pages so far, but we're following, you know, our main character Stevie again, our little young up and coming detective, and she's gonna go visit her boyfriend in England. She's bringing her friends along and everything too. The flashbacks we're getting of like the cold case is these 9 friends who call themselves the 9. And actually, funny enough, since I just talked about If We Were Villains earlier, it's reminding me of If We Were Villains, the flashback storyline, because we have this big group of friends in university. They're all like very into drama. Like a lot of them want to be actors or like comedians, it seems. There's again these different like romantic relationships and stuff between them. I think one of them's gonna end up dead, obviously. There's gonna be some sort of murder. So it's just funny that that is very similar to If We Were Liars. Yeah, I'm only 50 pages in so far, so you will see a review of this coming soon. Then I went to a Heartstopper event at my local bookstore, and while I was there I decided to haul a few Alice Oseman books that I didn't own yet because I want to buy like all her books because I just love her. So I got, first of all, Nick and Charlie. This is a novella following Nick and Charlie during Nick's final year of school. It actually is kind of lining up with the 5th Heartstopper book that also came out around the time I bought this and read it. I did read this, so that kind of worked out. It definitely wasn't as good as the Heartstopper graphic novels. She came out with this a while ago. What year? 2015. So wow, is that 9 years ago? That's weird. But anyways, I think she's kind of like developed Nick and Charlie a little bit differently since then in the graphic novels, but it was still, you know, interesting to read about them in a different format. It got a little more angsty and like darker than the graphic novels yet. But yeah, so there's this one. Then there's This Winter, which is another novella, but I believe it is focused more on like Charlie's sister Tori, and I haven't read her book yet, which is Solitaire. So I think I have to read Solitaire first and then I will read this. But yeah, I think it's during Christmas, like maybe Christmas break when Nick comes back to visit Charlie from school, I believe. And then I got something non-related to Heartstopper, but she has this book called I Was Born for This. Is this? Yeah, this is on my TBR for this month, so I guess I'll have a review coming soon. It's about like a pop rock trio of boys in this band. Oh, and then this girl who like loves them. She's like a fangirl, and maybe like, yeah, they meet and have some sort of relationship. But you know what? I'm not clear if it's gonna be romantic because Alice Oseman sometimes just has friendship in her books, not romance. So we'll see. We'll see very soon. And then, so I got this a different day, but it is just to finish off Alice Oseman. I did have to order this online because it wasn't in stock, but I finally got Solitaire. So now I own all of Alice Oseman's novels. I don't own the Heartstopper graphic novels because I read that on Webtoon online. So maybe I'll get those one day. But yeah, this is, I think, her first published book, and it's about Tori Spring, who is, sorry, these are all dusty, who is Charlie's older sister. And she's always been a little bit of a mystery to me because I never read this book. I did find out more about her in the most recent Heartstopper volume. So now I kind of understand her story, but yeah, this is gonna delve into it. So I look forward to reading that. Then we have The Fury by Alex Michaelides. This was a thriller that came out in January, and it was a very highly anticipated book for me because I have adored his first two books. If you saw my review last month, you would know I was a little bit disappointed with it. I only gave it 4 stars when I really wanted it to be a 5. We're following these group of people who go on a little vacation to this island in Greece, and there is a murder. And so it kind of has that typical setup of like a whodunit situation, Agatha Christie, blah, blah. But then it tries to turn that on its head. It kind of tries to do what someone in my family or everyone in my family's killed someone did, where it kind of flipped it on its head a little bit, or was like commentating on the trope of whodunit, but it didn't do it like as well. It wasn't as funny. And then it kind of like switches, it does like a bait and switch a little bit. Like there is a twist kind of in the middle, but I didn't love where it went. I just didn't really love where it went. Even though the twists were kind of surprising, some of them, I still read it in one day. It's still really quick, easy to get through writing like his other books, very addicting for me, but definitely my least favorite book of his, unfortunately. All right, now for the last stack, which I did get all at the same time. I hauled these all from Book Outlet. I did a TikTok for it, so maybe you saw that. But yeah, Book Outlet is great. Every once in a while, I'll do a big haul from them because they don't have like a wide selection, but they do have pretty cheap books. So basically every book I saw that I wanted to read, I did buy. Like I think there's 7 books here. So you get some pretty good deals. First of all, we have To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. This is a YA fantasy, and I think it's a Little Mermaid retelling that I heard about a while ago now, but I think the people who talked about it I just trusted, and I thought the idea of a Little Mermaid retelling sounded cool. I haven't read that many like mermaid books, and I think it's a standalone as well, so I don't have to like invest too much, so that should be cool. And then I got Furyborn by Claire Legrand. This is the first book in the Imperium trilogy. Again, heard about it a while ago, haven't necessarily heard people talk about it recently, but I have high hopes for this. 2 young women centuries apart hold the power to either save their world or doom it. When assassins ambush her best friend, Riel Darden risks everything to save him, exposing her ability to perform all 7 kinds of elemental magic. The only people who should possess this power are a pair of why can't I say that? Queens. A queen of light and a queen of blood. To prove she is the Sun Queen, Riel must endure 7 trials to test her magic. If she fails, she'll be executed unless the trials destroy her first. Okay, so we have some sort of magical competition, kind of. Sounds good. Then we have another standalone fantasy YA, again, is Hotel Magnifique by Emily J. Taylor. Actually, I think it was Emily who recommended this book to me, Hotel Magnifique. So I think I was recommended it when I read Caraval and loved it because I think it's about like a magical hotel. It's giving like carnival vibes. Yeah, so, oh yeah. Or it sounds like, what's that other book? Night Circus? Because apparently this Hotel Magnifique just appears in her town and it's famous for like traveling the world. Yeah, it literally sounds like Night Circus actually. And then it's about these 2 sisters that enter it. Okay, that's also giving Caraval. So yeah, I just really think this is gonna be a good one for me. Then, because I loved Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas last year. I wanted to read more of his books, so I got Lost in the Neverwood, which is one that I think I've heard some not great reviews of, but I'm like, you know what, I'll just buy all his books, especially because this was cheap. It's a Peter Pan retelling, so you can kind of figure out. That's all I know about it. I'm thinking of maybe doing like a Peter Pan retelling centered blog. And then we have the Sunbearer Trials, of course. I think this is middle grade technically, and it is some sort of competition book that deals with some different mythologies. So I think that just sounds great. Then I got Begin Again by Emma Lord. This is a YA contemporary book. I don't really buy that many YA contemporary books anymore. I guess I don't even really read them that much. But Emma Lord is someone who I own 2 of her other books, and I'm just the type of person, like, call it OCD or whatever. I kind of want to like collect the whole backlist of an author. Like if I have one of their books, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm collecting all of them. So I ended up getting this one. I think it's a newer one from her, but I feel like I'm getting behind on her books. I think she's had multiple releases. Okay, I just read the description. So it's about this girl. It's actually not even that YA because it's about her going to college. So I guess it would be more of a new adult, which is promising. Can we talk about the fact that like new adult needs to become an official thing? Like even reading Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood recently, like it should be called new adult, not YA. Like once they're over 18 and they're like technically adults, let's get this going. But anyway, so she transfers from her community college to this like other college, I guess, and she's kind of like figuring out her life and meeting new people. She starts working at the radio station that her mom like started when her mom also went to the school. She's having some romance stuff going on. I don't know, it sounds promising, it sounds cute. And the final book that I hauled in that book outlet haul was The Winners by Frederick Bachman, and it's big. It's big. This is the 3rd book and final book, I believe, in the Beartown series. I have loved that series. Like, I don't know if I gave them 5 stars, but at least 4.5 for the first 2 books. If you don't know, it's about this town that's obsessed with hockey. And then this like tragic event happens where everyone kind of has to like re-examine themselves and like the hockey team and the state of the town and stuff like that. And we're following so many different characters, but they're all like so compelling and it's so emotional and it's so good. So yeah, I think this will be good to just continue with these characters that I love and see where they all end up. I'm kind of surprised it's like so long. Like the series just keeps going. But anyways, that is my full fall and winter book haul. Let me know if you have any comments, if you've read any of these books or you have any opinions you want to share with me, books you think I should get to right away. And definitely be sure to subscribe if you've not already so you can see when I put out my reviews of these books and so you can see my spring summer book haul that will come sometime later in the year. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, I appreciate it. I hope you're having a great day, a great year, and I'll see you next time. Bye.